Professor Goodwin, I'm starting with you. Last night on this show, Lawrence played a clip from a 2018 interview with Clarence Thomas, talking about how it'd be impossible to be a Supreme Court justice without Ginny Thomas. I'm going to play another clip from that same interview to start off our conversation. Watch this.
To be able to know that you have done what you are required to do, that you have been truthful, that you have not deceived people, that you can put your head on your pillow and sleep soundly. My grandfather always talked about the sort of peace that you had when you did what was right. And so there's nothing that the critics can either give me or take away that's of value to me. They can't take away sort of what I think about what I do, because they have no input into that.
Professor Goodwin, does that sound to you like a man who cares much about the controversy his wife has thrust the Supreme Court into?
Well, to be clear, that's a statement from a few years ago, but he certainly should be concerned, and so should every member of the United States Supreme Court, and as well members of our Congress. And members of the Congress are now deliberating about setting law that would impose ethics rules to be applied to the United States Supreme Court. It is our one branch within law where there are no ethics rules. And lawyers are held to a very high standard of ethics. In fact, before students are able to sit for the bar, they have to take an ethics bar exam. The fact that the United States Supreme Court justices do not have to abide by a set of ethics rules is really antithetical to justice itself. And the Supreme Court right now has the lowest approval rating by the American public in almost 50 years. And so all of this is disconcerting, especially the content of the text by Ginny Thomas and the fact that Justice Thomas could be sitting while there are cases that come about due to the January 6th insurrection. It's caused a lot of problems, including the fact that most recently he was the only no vote when it came to questions of releasing information relevant to the investigation of the January 6th insurrection.
Glenn, here's how Frank Bruni put the situation in an op-ed for the New York Times. He writes, "What a terrifying moment in which the wife of a serving Supreme Court justice unabashedly exploits her insider access, ignores the idea of checks and balances, promotes conspiracy theories, and essentially endorses insurrection. Her conduct isn't some passing curiosity. It's a sign of the times, and it's a warning to us all." Glenn, what do you think it says that these crazy theories have now essentially made it to the highest court in the land?
You know, Jonathan, it says that we have a crisis at the Supreme Court, a crisis of legitimacy. And one thing that I think we've learned by Justice Thomas's failure to remove himself from a case where it sure looks like he has a conflict. You know, he could be called upon to decide, for example, whether his wife's own texts, which really are inappropriate at best and incriminating at worst, he would be in a position to decide whether they should be disclosed to the J6 committee and by extension to the American people, or hidden from the J6 committee. You know, there's a crisis at the Supreme Court, and it seems like there are a number of fixes that need to be seriously considered. As the professor says, we need a code of conduct because the Supreme Court has shown it can't be trusted to police itself. So Chief Justice Roberts better take this seriously, because I think confidence in the court is at an all-time low. It continues to erode. So there needs to be a code of conduct. There needs to be an enforcement mechanism to make sure that this situation doesn't recur and to deter future misconduct by the justices. And then there needs to be a serious inquiry, a public inquiry about what Justice Thomas did, what he knew, why he failed to recuse. And I'm not saying let's rush to impeachment, but I am saying let's rush to transparency so the American people can see what went on and can see that the institution is taking seriously the need to fix this problem.
Well, Professor Goodwin, let's talk more about the transparency that you have both mentioned. I mean, Chief Justice Roberts, this talk about Congress adopting a code of ethics for the Supreme Court, that's not likely to go over well with the Chief Justice, because here's what he wrote in his year-end report. The judiciary's power to manage its internal affairs insulates courts from inappropriate political influence and is crucial to preserving public trust in its work as a separate and co-equal branch of government. What do you think Roberts is going to do here, particularly with him not being able to force Thomas to do anything he doesn't want to do?
Well, let's be clear that the court is not above the law, nor is the court beyond being fallible. It has been. We can see over time with rulings from the Supreme Court that biases influence what the court does, whether we're talking about Dred Scott, Plessy v. Ferguson, cases that still stand as some of the worst jurisprudence in the court's history. And Justice Roberts may have been resistant to this, but now with these texts, with the actions of the justice himself, with information that's been revealed about Ginny Thomas, it would be a huge mistake for Justice Roberts to ignore this. And I will say one thing really quickly here, which is that there have been times in which the justice's hand has been moved. When he was pressured during the Trump administration saying that these are Obama judges who are ruling against me, the Chief Justice came out and was pressured by other federal judges to say there is no such thing as just Obama judges, Bush judges, etc. We are one unified court. And so his hand is being pushed, and I believe he probably will respond. We may not see it. It may be behind closed doors, but I imagine this is something that is very bothersome to him.